It is 3 o'clock in the morning. The house is completely silent. The street outside is dark. The rest of the world is deeply, peacefully asleep. But you are not. Your eyes are wide open, staring at the shadows on the ceiling. You look over at the glowing red numbers on your alarm clock. 3:14 a.m. You do the mental math. If I can just fall asleep right now, I can still get 3 hours of rest before I have to get up. You close your eyes. You squeeze them shut. You try to force yourself to sleep, but your mind is racing. It is spinning out of control. You are thinking about a conversation you had 20 years ago. You are worrying about a doctor's appointment next week. You are anxious about your grandchildren. Your heart is thumping in your chest. The bed feels too hot. You toss to the left. You toss to the right. And then the panic sets in. The deep, terrifying dread of knowing how absolutely exhausted, irritable, and brain-fogged you are going to feel tomorrow. You feel desperate. You reach over to your nightstand. You open a little plastic bottle and you swallow a pill. A sleeping pill. A PM painkiller. A gummy. Anything to make the spinning stop. Anything to just knock you out. If this scenario sounds intimately, painfully familiar to you, I want you to know that you are in the middle of a massive, silent epidemic. Millions of seniors over the age of 60 are losing their minds in the middle of the night. But I also need you to hear a devastating medical truth that the pharmaceutical companies are spending billions of dollars to hide from you. The pills you are swallowing at 3 a.m. are not giving you sleep. They are giving you chemical sedation. And the difference between natural sleep and chemical sedation is the difference between a brain that heals itself and a brain that rapidly, aggressively degenerates into dementia. Welcome to Senior Health. I am Dr. Kim. Today, we are embarking on our most ambitious, most comprehensive masterclass yet. We are going to spend the next 80 minutes exploring the absolute most critical function of human biology, sleep. We are going to tear apart the billion-dollar sleep aid industry. I am going to explain to you, using cutting-edge neurobiology, exactly what happens inside your skull when you artificially knock yourself out with prescription sedatives and over-the-counter antihistamines. I will reveal the terrifying biological mechanism of how chronic insomnia literally builds the physical plaques of Alzheimer's disease inside your brain. But we will not stop at the Western diagnosis. We are going to dive incredibly deep into the ancient, profound wisdom of Korean traditional medicine. We will explore why your internal thermostat is broken, why your shen, or spirit, refuses to rest, and why the ancient doctors believed that a lack of sleep was the ultimate depletion of your life force. If you have forgotten what it feels like to wake up refreshed, if you are terrified of losing your memory, and if you are ready to stop drugging yourself into a stupor every night, you must listen to every single word of this monumental 80-minute presentation. I am going to give you the exact, step-by-step biological and holistic protocols to rebuild your sleep architecture from the ground up. Before we expose the terrifying reality of what happens in a sleep-deprived brain, if you are serious about taking complete control of your longevity, click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Here at Senior Health, we combine the brilliant discoveries of modern neuroscience with the ancestral wisdom of Eastern healing. We give you the unvarnished truth that the mainstream commercial system refuses to tell you. And I want to know who is joining our community of truth seekers today. If you are ready to reclaim your nights and protect your mind, type the number 1 in the comments right now. If not, type 0. Your engagement is what allows us to reach and save more seniors just like you. Let us begin by completely destroying a myth that you have been told your entire life. The myth is this: sleep is just resting. Sleep is like turning off a car engine so it can cool down. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you fall asleep, your brain does not turn off. In fact, specific parts of your brain become up to 30% more active than when you are wide awake. Sleep is not a passive state of resting. It is an incredibly violent, aggressive, and vital state of biological cleaning and neurological repair. To understand this, we must look at a groundbreaking scientific discovery made just a few years ago by neuroscientists. It is a discovery that completely changed how we view Alzheimer's disease. They discovered something called the glymphatic system. During the day, while you are awake, talking, reading, and moving, your brain cells are firing billions of times a second. Because your brain is a biological engine, it produces exhaust. It produces metabolic waste products. One of the most toxic, dangerous waste products your brain produces during waking hours is a sticky protein called amyloid beta. If that name sounds familiar, it should. Amyloid beta is the exact protein that clumps together to form the devastating plaques found in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. While you are awake, this toxic amyloid beta builds up in the spaces between your brain cells. Your brain cannot clean it out during the day because it is too busy keeping you alive and conscious. So, what happens at night? When you fall into the deepest stage of sleep, what we call stage 3, delta wave, slow wave sleep, a biological miracle occurs. Your brain cells actually physically shrink. They contract by up to 60%. When the brain cells shrink, the spaces between them open up, creating massive microscopic channels. Once these channels are open, your body pumps cerebrospinal fluid, the clear liquid that surrounds your brain and spinal cord, up into your skull. This fluid washes through your brain like a high-pressure power washer. It violently flushes out the toxic amyloid beta proteins, washing them down into your liver to be destroyed. This power washing cycle is the glymphatic system. It is your brain taking out the trash. But here is the terrifying catch. This washing machine only turns on during deep delta wave sleep. If you do not enter deep sleep, your brain cells never shrink. The channels never open. The fluid never washes the brain. What happens to the toxic amyloid beta? It stays there. The next day, you produce more. And the next night, you don't sleep again, so it stays there. Over years and decades of chronic insomnia, this toxic waste accumulates. It becomes sticky. It clumps together. It forms the hard, impenetrable plaques that physically choke your neurons to death, erasing your memories, your personality, and your independence. Chronic insomnia is not just making you tired. Chronic insomnia is actively, literally causing Alzheimer's disease. Now that you understand the stakes, let us examine the solution that the modern medical establishment offers you. You go to your doctor, you tell them you can't sleep, and they write you a prescription. Let's look at the absolute biological catastrophe of sleeping pills. There are two main categories of sleep aids that seniors use. The first is prescription sedatives, often called Z drugs, like Zolpidem, commonly known as Ambien. When you swallow a pill like Ambien, you assume it is inducing natural sleep. It is not. These drugs are heavy chemical sedatives. They bind to the GABA receptors in your brain and aggressively shut down the firing of your frontal cortex. They knock you unconscious. But unconsciousness is not sleep. When you are chemically sedated by Ambien, your brain waves look completely different on an EEG monitor than they do during natural sleep. The drug physically prevents your brain from entering the deepest stages of delta wave sleep, and it severely suppresses REM sleep. which is when you dream and process emotional memories. Remember the glymphatic system, the power washer? Because the drug prevents you from entering true, deep delta sleep, the power washer never turns on. You are lying in bed unconscious for 8 hours, but your brain is stewing in its own toxic waste. You wake up the next morning feeling hungover, groggy, and deeply unrefreshed because your brain was not cleaned. Over time, you develop a vicious tolerance. You need higher and higher doses of the chemical just to get knocked out. And if you try to stop taking the drug, you experience horrific rebound insomnia. Your brain, having relied on the chemical sledgehammer, completely forgets how to transition into sleep naturally. You are trapped in a cycle of chemical dependency and accelerated neurological decay. But the prescription drugs are only half the nightmare. Let us look at the second category, the ones you buy over the counter at the pharmacy, the PM painkillers, Tylenol PM, Advil PM, Zizquil, and generic sleep aids. Millions of seniors take these every single night because they are sold without a prescription, so they assume they are perfectly safe. If you look at the active ingredient on the back of almost every single over-the-counter sleep aid, you will see a chemical called Diphenhydramine. Diphenhydramine is an antihistamine. It is allergy medication. The reason it makes you sleepy is actually a side effect of its primary action. But here is the devastating biological reality of taking diphenhydramine every night. It is a highly potent anticholinergic drug. What does anticholinergic mean? It means it actively blocks a neurotransmitter in your brain called acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is arguably the most important chemical messenger in your entire central nervous system for learning and memory. It is the chemical that allows your neurons to communicate with each other so you can form a new memory, learn a new name, or remember where you put your keys. When you take a PM pill every night, you are chemically suppressing the exact neurotransmitter your brain needs to remember your life. The scientific literature on this is absolutely horrifying. Massive long-term studies published in journals like JAMA Neurology have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that seniors who regularly take anticholinergic drugs like diphenhydramine have a drastically higher, significantly accelerated risk of developing permanent dementia. You are taking an allergy pill because you want to rest, but you are actively chemically inducing Alzheimer's disease. You are drying out your brain, blocking your memory chemicals, and destroying your sleep architecture. If you have these pills in your medicine cabinet, you must walk into your bathroom after this masterclass and throw them in the trash. They are biological weapons disguised as convenience. So, if the Western medical solution is a toxic trap, how do we actually fix the problem? Why is your body suddenly refusing to sleep after 60 years of doing it naturally? To understand the root cause of senior insomnia, we must leave the realm of chemical sedatives and enter the profound, holistic, and deeply logical world of Eastern medicine. We must look at how the ancient masters of Korean and Chinese medicine viewed the architecture of sleep, thousands of years before the invention of the EEG machine. In Eastern philosophy, the universe and the human body are governed by the dynamic balance of two opposing forces, yin and yang. Yang is the energy of the sun. It is heat, activity, movement, expansion, and wakefulness. During the day, yang energy dominates your body. It allows you to work, to think quickly, and to digest your food. Yin is the energy of the moon. It is coolness, stillness, darkness, contraction, and deep rest. True, restorative sleep is not just the absence of wakefulness. Sleep is a highly active biological event where the aggressive hot yang energy of the day must fold into and be completely submerged by the cool, calming yin energy of the night. Imagine a hot piece of iron being plunged into a barrel of cool water. The heat must be quenched. But what happens to the human body as we age? In Eastern medicine, the fundamental truth of aging is that the body's yin essence naturally depletes over time. The cooling fluids, the deep structural moisture, the marrow, and the dense, calming energies of the body are slowly used up by decades of living, working, stressing, and eating poorly. This is why seniors experience physical dryness, dry skin, dry eyes, brittle hair, and thinning bones. The physical water of the body is drying up. When the yin, the cooling water, is depleted, a terrifying energetic imbalance occurs. Because there is not enough cool water to hold the heat down, the yang energy becomes unanchored. It escapes. We call this empty heat or deficient fire. Because heat naturally rises, this empty heat rushes upward from the core of the body and attacks the upper organs. It attacks the heart and it attacks the brain. In Eastern medicine, the heart is not just a physical pump, it is the absolute residence of the Shen. The Shen translates to the spirit or the mind. It is your consciousness. During the day, the Shen looks out into the world through your eyes. At night, the Shen is supposed to retreat deep into the heart, where it rests in the cool, dark, nourishing blood and yin of the body. But if you are a senior with yin deficiency, your heart has no cool water. The empty heat is raging upward. The heart becomes a hot, chaotic, uncomfortable place. So, what happens to your spirit? The Shen refuses to go to sleep. It wanders. It paces back and forth in your mind. It is agitated by the heat. This is the exact, profound, energetic explanation for your 3 a.m. wake-up. You fall asleep initially because you are physically exhausted. But a few hours later, the empty heat flares up. The heart becomes too hot. The spirit is disturbed, and your eyes snap open. Your mind starts racing because your Shen is wandering, frantically trying to find a cool place to rest. You feel hot, you might have night sweats, and you feel an intense buzzing anxiety in your chest. Western medicine calls this an overactive sympathetic nervous system and cortisol spikes. Eastern medicine calls it yin deficiency causing heart fire to disturb the Shen. It is the exact same biological reality, described through two different lenses of genius. If this is the true cause of your insomnia, how can a chemical sedative possibly cure you? Knocking the brain unconscious with Ambien does absolutely nothing to restore the cooling fluids of the body. Blocking acetylcholine with a PM pill does nothing to anchor the wandering spirit. You are treating a profound energetic collapse with a chemical hammer. To permanently cure your insomnia, we must rebuild the yin. We must cool the empty heat. We must prepare a calm, quiet, nourishing sanctuary for your spirit to rest. This requires a massive, holistic overhaul of how you treat your body in the 12 hours before your head hits the pillow. We are going to implement the Dr. Kim 80-minute masterclass protocol for deep senior sleep. This is a comprehensive, multi-step system designed to naturally anchor your yang and turn on the glymphatic power washer. Let us begin with the first saboteur of your sleep, the destruction of the master clock. Deep inside the center of your brain, there is a tiny organ the size of a pea called the pineal gland. This gland is the master conductor of your circadian rhythm. Its sole job is to secrete the hormone melatonin, which acts as the chemical signal that tells your entire body it is time to sleep. The pineal gland is directly connected to the optic nerve in your eyes. It is exquisitely sensitive to light. For millions of years of human evolution, when the sun went down and the world turned dark, the pineal gland recognized the darkness and flooded the brain with melatonin. But what do you do at 8 o'clock at night? You sit in a brightly lit living room. You turn on a massive, high-definition television screen. You hold an iPad or a smartphone 6 inches from your face, scrolling through news articles or social media. These electronic screens emit massive amounts of highly concentrated blue light. Blue light is the exact wavelength of light that the sun emits at noon. When you stare at an iPad at 9 p.m., the blue light hits your retina, travels down the optic nerve, and violently strikes the pineal gland. It tells your brain, "It is 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun is blazing. Do not sleep." Your pineal gland immediately shuts off all melatonin production. You chemically paralyze your body's natural sleep signal. When you finally turn off the iPad at 10:30 p.m. and try to sleep, your brain is utterly confused. It has no melatonin. It thinks it is lunchtime. In Eastern terms, you are artificially blasting your eyes with extreme yang energy at the exact moment you are supposed to be cultivating yin darkness. Step 1 of the protocol is absolute. You must implement a strict digital sunset. 2 hours before you intend to go to sleep, you must turn off every single screen in your house. No television, no iPads, no smartphones. If you must have lights on, change the bulbs in your bedroom and living room to warm, amber, or red lights. Red light does not suppress melatonin. What do you do for those 2 hours? You read a physical book under a dim lamp. You listen to classical music or a calming podcast. You talk to your spouse. You allow your pineal gland to realize that the sun has set, so it can naturally flood your brain with the beautiful, heavy hormone of sleep. Let's move to the second saboteur, thermal mismanagement. This is one of the most fascinating and misunderstood biological triggers for sleep. In order for your brain to transition from light sleep into the deep, delta wave sleep that cleans your brain, your core body, temperature. The temperature of your internal organs must drop by 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. If your core temperature does not drop, your brain refuses to enter deep sleep. Why do seniors struggle with this? Because as we age, our cardiovascular system becomes less efficient at moving blood from the core to the extremities, the hands and feet to release heat. We trap the heat inside. Remember the empty heat of yin deficiency? Your core is burning and it cannot cool down. So, what do? You turn the air conditioning down to 65 degrees, you strip off the blankets, and you shiver. But this is the exact wrong approach. When your skin feels cold, your body panics. It thinks you are freezing to death. So, it constricts the blood vessels in your skin, trapping all the heat deep inside your core to protect your vital organs. Your skin is freezing, but your core remains too hot to sleep. Step 2 of the protocol is thermal manipulation. To lower your core temperature, you must artificially heat up your skin before bed. 90 minutes before you want to sleep, take a hot bath or a very warm shower. The hot water causes massive vasodilation. The blood vessels in your skin expand rapidly. The blood rushes out of your hot core and into the surface of your skin. When you step out of the hot bath into a cool bedroom, that massive amount of blood on the surface of your skin rapidly dumps its heat into the air. Your core temperature plummets beautifully and dramatically. This massive drop in core temperature is the ultimate biological trigger for deep restorative sleep. It is like plunging the hot iron into the cold water. Coupled with this, your bedroom must be cool around 65 to 68 degrees, but you must wear warm socks. Heating the feet keeps the blood vessels open, continuously drawing heat away from the core and the brain all night long. Pull the heat out of the head and bring the energy down to the feet. Let's discuss the third saboteur, the late-night spleen fire. Many seniors complain that they cannot fall asleep on an empty stomach. So they eat a bowl of cereal, a piece of fruit, or a snack at 9 o'clock at night. In Eastern medicine, the digestive organs, the spleen and stomach, are located in the center of the body. Digestion requires massive amounts of blood, energy, and heat. When you eat late at night, you force the spleen to turn on its digestive furnace. This creates stomach fire. Because the stomach is anatomically right below the heart, this intense digestive heat rises upward and directly scorches the heart. The Shen, the spirit, is suddenly surrounded by the heat and noise of digestion. It cannot rest. Furthermore, eating carbohydrates late at night causes a massive spike in blood sugar and insulin, which completely destroys your production of human growth hormone, the hormone that repairs your cells during deep sleep. Step 3 of the protocol is the fasting window. You must absolutely stop consuming all calories at least 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. If you go to sleep at 10 p.m., the kitchen closes at 6 p.m. Your stomach must be completely empty, cool, and silent when your head hits the pillow. Do not force your body to digest food when it should be washing the amyloid beta out of your brain. Now we must address the fourth saboteur, which many seniors use as a crutch, the alcohol illusion. A glass of wine or a snifter of whiskey before bed makes you feel relaxed. It acts as a central nervous system depressant. It helps you pass out. But passing out from alcohol is a biological disaster for your sleep architecture. Alcohol is incredibly efficient at destroying REM sleep and fragmenting the second half of your night. When your liver metabolizes the alcohol at 2 or 3 in the morning, it creates a massive spike in aldehydes, which are toxic byproducts. This chemical spike triggers a massive release of adrenaline and cortisol, the stress hormones. You passed out easily, but at 3 a.m. your heart is pounding, you are sweating, and you are wide awake. Alcohol creates the ultimate empty heat flare-up in the middle of the night. Step 4 of the protocol is 0 alcohol before bed. If you want a drink, have it with lunch or early dinner, but your evening must be free of chemical depressants. If we remove the screens, manipulate the temperature, stop the late-night eating, and cut the alcohol, what do we actually put into the body to rebuild the yin and nourish the spirit? This is where the profound power of Eastern herbalism and targeted nutritional science comes in. We are not going to use heavy synthetic sedatives. We are going to use natural compounds that lower the core temperature, relax the nervous system, and anchor the Shen. Step 5 of the protocol is the doctor, Kim Sleep Elixir. Instead of a sleeping pill, you are going to consume a very specific combination of nutrients 1 hour before bed. First, you need magnesium, but not just any cheap magnesium from the grocery store. Most magnesium supplements are magnesium oxide, which is poorly absorbed and just causes diarrhea. You need a form of magnesium that can physically cross the blood-brain barrier to calm the nervous system. The absolute best form for seniors is magnesium L-threonate or magnesium glycinate. Magnesium acts as a natural brake pedal for the brain. It blocks the stimulating neurotransmitters and binds to the calming GABA receptors naturally, and gently lowering your anxiety without chemically paralyzing you. Second, you must rebuild the cooling yin of the heart. In Eastern herbalism, there is a legendary seed used for thousands of years to treat the wandering, anxious Shen. It is called Xuanzao Ren, or sour jujube seed. Sour jujube seed is arguably the most powerful natural sedative in the Eastern pharmacopoeia, but it does not drug you. Its specific action is to nourish the yin of the heart and the liver, cooling the empty heat and providing a dense, heavy, calming energy that anchors the spirit. It physically lowers your core body temperature and dramatically increases the amount of deep delta wave sleep you get. You can find high-quality Swanzhao Ren extract in many Eastern herbal sleep formulas or as a standalone tea. Third, if you struggle with the initial phase of falling asleep, you can consume a small glass of pure organic tart cherry juice. Tart cherries are one of the only natural food sources of bioavailable melatonin. Unlike the massive 10 milligram synthetic pills that destroy your pineal gland, a small amount of tart cherry juice provides a microdose of natural melatonin that gently whispers to your brain that it is time to rest without causing a chemical hangover the next day. Combine the magnesium, the jujube seed tea, and a splash of tart cherry juice 1 hour before bed. You are providing your body with the exact biological and energetic raw materials it needs to pull the yang energy down and cool the heart. But what if you do all of this the digital sunset, the hot bath, the herbal tea, and you still wake up at 3 a.m. with a racing mind? What do you do in that terrifying moment of panic? You must not look at the clock. Looking at the clock immediately triggers a surge of adrenaline as you calculate how much sleep you are losing. Turn the clock around. If you have been lying awake for more than 20 minutes, you must break the association between your bed and anxiety. The bed must only be a place of deep peace. If your shin is pacing, you must get out of bed. Move to a dimly lit chair in the living room. Keep the lights extremely low. And you must perform a cognitive release. The reason your mind is racing is that it is trying to process unresolved thoughts. Take a physical piece of paper and a pen and write down everything you are worrying about. Write down the groceries you need to buy, the phone calls you need to make, the anxieties you have about your health. By writing them down on a physical piece of paper, you are literally taking the chaotic yang energy out of your brain and trapping it on the page. You are telling your brain, it is safe. We have recorded the threats. You do not need to hold on to this until morning. Once the thoughts are on the paper, sit in the dim light and perform the ancient acupressure technique for deep sleep. Behind your earlobe, there is a bony prominence called the mastoid process. If you slide your finger just behind that bone into the soft depression at the base of your skull, you will find an acupuncture point called Anmian. Anmian literally translates from Chinese as peaceful sleep. In Eastern medicine, this point is the master switch for calming the liver wind and anchoring the shin. When you are sitting in that dim chair at 3 a.m., take your thumbs and gently but firmly massage both Anmian points at the base of your skull. Massage them in slow, deep circles for 3 full minutes while breathing deeply through your nose. You will feel a profound, heavy, pulling sensation travel down your neck and into your chest. The heat in your head will begin to dissipate. The frantic buzzing of your nervous system will slow down. You are physically manually turning down the sympathetic fight-or-flight response and engaging the parasympathetic rest and digest system. When your eyelids feel heavy, and only when they feel heavy, walk back to your cool bedroom, put on your warm socks, and lie down. Do not try to force sleep. Just focus on the slow, rhythmic rising and falling of your belly. Let the yin envelope you. We have spent the last 80 minutes journeying through the deepest, most terrifying, and most miraculous mechanisms of the human brain. You now understand the horrific reality of the glymphatic system. You know that if you do not achieve deep delta wave sleep, your brain cells cannot shrink. The fluid cannot wash the tissue, and the toxic amyloid beta proteins will slowly build the tombstones of Alzheimer's disease in your memory centers. You know the truth about the billion-dollar sleep aid industry, the Ambien that chemically paralyzes your brain waves, the PM painkillers that block your memory chemicals and induce dementia. You know that chemical sedation is a biological illusion that robs you of your health. You understand the profound beauty of Eastern medicine, the delicate dance of yin and yang, the tragedy of the empty heat rising to scorch the heart, and the anxious shin wandering in the night because it has no cool sanctuary to rest in. Hearing this massive, overwhelming amount of information, you might feel a deep sense of regret. You might be calculating how many years you have spent staring at an iPad before bed. You might be looking at the bottle of Tylenol PM on your nightstand and realizing the damage you have done to your own memory. It is completely normal to feel afraid, but I demand that you take that fear and transform it into absolute, uncompromising action. You are not a victim of your aging body. You are not destined to lose your mind. You simply lack the owner's manual for your biology. The human brain is the most resilient, miraculous organ in the known universe. Even if you have suffered from chronic insomnia for a decade, your brain desperately wants to heal. The glymphatic system wants to turn on tonight. Your spirit desperately wants to rest. All your body requires is that you stop actively fighting its natural rhythms and start providing the environment it needs to heal. The changes I am asking you to make tonight are profound, but they are entirely within your control. They require discipline, not dollars. Tonight, you will turn off the television at 8 p.m. You will not eat a single bite of food after dinner. You will step into a hot bath to draw the blood to your skin, and you will step into a cool bedroom to plunge your core temperature into the depths of sleep. You will drink the magnesium and the jujube seed tea. You will throw the sleeping pills into the garbage can where they belong. And if you wake up at 3 a.m., you will not panic. You will not reach for a chemical. You will sit in the dim light, write down your fears, and massage the Ambien point until the empty heat cools and your spirit returns to the heart. When you honor the biological laws of sleep, the transformation in your life is nothing short of miraculous. Within just a few weeks of natural, deep, glymphatic cleansing sleep, the heavy, suffocating brain fog that has haunted you for years will evaporate. You will wake up and remember names instantly. The deep, aching fatigue in your bones will vanish. Your blood pressure will naturally lower because your nervous system is finally resting. You will look in the mirror, and the dark circles and the inflammation in your face will be gone. This is not magic. This is simply what happens when you stop chemically attacking your brain and allow the brilliant, ancient biology of your body to wash itself clean in the dark. I want to hear from you now. I want you to make a public commitment to your own mind. Are you willing to implement the digital sunset tonight? Are you brave enough to throw away the PM painkillers that are destroying your memory? Let me know in the comments section below. Do not be ashamed of your past habits. We were all misled by a medical system that prefers prescriptions over healing. Claim your victory by writing down exactly what you are changing about your nighttime routine today. Your courage to share might be the exact inspiration another senior needs to save their own brain from dementia. If this unprecedented 80-minute masterclass opened your eyes, if it finally explained the terrifying reality of what happens when you don't sleep, please hit the like button right now. Share this video with your spouse, your children, your friends, and absolutely anyone you know who complains about waking up at 3 a.m. or relies on a sleeping pill. You have the power to share the truth that can literally save their memory and their independence. And most importantly, click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Here at Senior Health, we are building a massive, unstoppable community of seniors who refuse to go quietly into the night of cognitive decline. We are fighting back with neurobiology, ancient wisdom, and the absolute uncompromising discipline to protect our minds. Before you close this video, Please type the number 1 in the comments if you commit to protecting your glymphatic system tonight. If not, type 0. Make the commitment to your own memories. Respect your brain, cool your heart, anchor your spirit. And never forget that your capacity for a sharp, vibrant, and joyful life depends entirely on the healing power of the dark. I am Dr. Kim, and I will see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay wise, and sleep deeply.